Well, greetings and salutations, folks. I hope everyone is still doing well, and welcome to today's bonus upload. Before we jump on into it, a couple quick links. As many of you may know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman, Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. These audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost a cent. Click the like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads that I put out daily, click the bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment and share the video. Why? Well, these things really do help the channel to continue to grow and go. They definitely do matter and are appreciated. And with that, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump in to today's bonus, shall we? Today's first part of the upload is kind of a very strange missing persons. It comes out of Alaska. Now, I wouldn't want to be missing anywhere, but I most definitely wouldn't want to be missing in action in Alaska. But this one's just strange. Officials suspend for Oregon man missing in Juneau, August 21st, 2021. Update, August 23rd, 1:45 p.m. Search and rescue officials have suspended their search for an Oregon man who went missing in the Juneau area. Joseph Clayton was last seen Friday morning when he left his father's house for a planned hike in the Perseverance Trail. When he didn't come home that evening, his father went looking for him and found his car at the Ayuk Lake boat ramp. A silver alert was activated. Alaskan state troopers and the Southeast Alaskan Dogs organized for a ground search, or Sea Dogs, looked for Clayton around the Ayuk Lake. After 2 days of searching over the weekend, troopers say they found no other signs that Clayton was in the area, but they'll resume active searching if they have any further indications of his whereabouts. Juneau police are assigning a detective and investigating Clayton's disappearance as a missing persons case. Some of his family members are arriving in Juneau from out of state to do their own volunteer search efforts. Joseph Clayton goes or responds to Joe. He's a 48-year-old white male, about 6'2", 220 pounds. Last seen wearing a t-shirt, jeans, and a light-colored backpack. Anyone seeing Clayton is advised against rushing up to help him since he has anxiety that may force him to retreat. The original story, which has no date, so I'm presuming August 21st to the 23rd, considering the first part was the update. State officials are asking people in Juneau keep an eye out for Joseph Clayton, 48-year-old male who has gone missing. They issued a silver alert for him Saturday, saying he was last seen on the Threadneedle Street in town. He is described as wearing a white shirt, jeans, carrying a backpack. He's got brown hair, hazel eyes, and weighs about 220 pounds. He's 6'2". Juneau police said in a Facebook post that Clayton was last seen at around 7:30 in the morning Friday, leaving his father's home for a hike, and his car was seen at the Ayuk Lake boat launch. Mr. Clayton is not from Juneau, nor is he familiar with Juneau or the trail systems, police say. It is believed he was alone when he went missing.
Silver alerts are issued when a vulnerable adult is missing and believed to be in serious danger. Anyone with information about Clayton can call the Silver Alert hotline, 855-745-8799. August 25th, 2021. Family members and volunteers are expanding their search for an Oregon man who went missing in Juneau. Joseph Clayton, goes by Joe, has been missing since he left for a hike on Friday. His keys, backpack, and binoculars were found Tuesday in a wooded area off Mendenhall Loop, commonly known as Back Loop, between the University of Alaska Southeast Main Entrance and the Ayuk Bay Roundabout. Clayton's niece, Adrienne Randall, says Sea Dogs, or Southeast Alaskan Dogs Organized for Ground Search, were called to the area Tuesday, but she says the dogs were unable to find Clayton's scent. She says professional searchers have since advised the family to start searching outside of the Ayuk Lake area. She says they got a report of someone matching her uncle's description trying to hitchhike. It's possible he may have walked or gotten a ride elsewhere. Randall says they are putting up flyers and canvassing places from downtown Juneau and Sandy Beach in Douglas to Eagle Beach out the road. That includes campgrounds, trailheads, and places where homeless residents may gather. Clayton is a 48-year-old white male, 6'2", 220. Last seen wearing a t-shirt and jeans. If anyone spots him who believes it is Clayton, Juneau police ask they be called right away, 586-0600, and stay within eyesight until an officer can arrive and verify his identity. Clayton has a form of anxiety that may try to retreat if someone rushes up to help him. Now, if you just think about this for a moment, the man went missing on a Friday morning, August 20th. They gave up searching for him on the 23rd. I'm guessing they may have stopped searching for him on the 22nd, and the news release was released on the 23rd. When does that happen? How often does that happen? Not often. That's pretty unique and fishy, if you ask me. The family has to step in. Family from out of state comes up from Oregon. And along with volunteers, they find the man's keys, bag, binoculars on a wooded area off Mendenhall Loop, which is a trail. These Sea Dogs, or Southeast Alaskan Dog Organized for Ground Search, cannot pick up a scent. Goes missing somewhere. Which tells me that something picked him up. Not that he went hitchhiking, because these dogs are specially trained. Now, something's telling me that, on top of, on top of him having this anxiety disorder, which would almost make anybody question, why are you giving up a search after 2 days? That makes absolutely no sense. The missing woman, Jennifer Coleman, was missing. They didn't give up until they found her. Yet there's no more news on that. Also, what's interesting is as of August 25th, there are no news articles or updates. So this man, Joseph Clayton, is just forgotten almost. Not by his family, but by the media and the local or state government. Feds haven't got involved, as we know, because it would have been in the news articles. Why can't these dogs pick up a scent? Or they did. They found this backpack and binoculars, keys. Something's telling me that he got picked up by something and not a human. Because on this Mendenhall loop, he's not out hitchhiking. Because they would have found his bag somewhere along the road, not on a fucking loop, on a trail. This poor man and his family. And then just to give up the search like that. He's got anxiety. He's missing. 2 days. It's all done. State police the Juneau State Police are wonderful. We'll resume active searching if they have any further indications of his whereabouts. Fuck that. Go and search for the man because he's missing. You're lazy. What more do you have to do up there? You go and find him. He's not... This is disturbing. This poor guy, his family, he's got anxiety, and they give up the search. Make sense of that, will you? Make sense of that. All I can say is, screw it, man. We really need to figure things out for ourselves, people. Anyway, let's move on. Oh yeah, quick update before we get into today's second part of the upload, which is a very fascinating encounter. I'm going to be interviewing a subscriber from Australia in the next couple of days here. We've got to get together. I think there's like a 14-hour time difference. So we've got to get together and figure out a time, but it's going to be a very interesting upload, and I'm pretty excited about it. But I just wanted to give everyone a heads up before we jumped into the second part of the upload today. Today's second encounter. This experience happened in the Sierra Nevada mountains on the border of California and Nevada. Just to give a little background on myself, I am a very successful technician in the world of broadcast. My eyes are my greatest tool for accuracy and detail. I'm an accomplished visual artist and have studied the movement of animals closely since I was very young. I also have been coming to the same camping area for over 40 years, so scouting fish and other wildlife in the wilderness is second nature to me. That is to say, I have an exceptional eyesight, and I feel I am a better witness to an event than most others, not only because of my keen eyesight, but I also have the ability to keep calm under extraordinary situations. Having said that, in this instance, I have a fellow eyewitness, my wife of 13 years, that is the most skeptical of people that I know. So all of you naysayers save it because I live with the biggest, and she would have never believed my story if she wasn't there in the passenger seat beside me that night. I don't know how to categorize the creature I saw that night. What I saw was very humanoid, and that is so disturbing. The location is Bridgeport, California Twin Lakes Resort, a remote fishing lodge high in the Sierra Nevada mountain range. The resort sits in a valley at about 7,000 feet and in the shadow of the mighty Sawtooth Ridge, a beautiful, secluded spot with no cell service and tons of wildlife. I myself have seen bald golden eagle, osprey, mountain goat, mountain lion, mountain beaver, even the rare Sierra moose. The date would have been just after Labor Day of 2014, maybe September 10th, approximately 5:30 in the morning. We had just finished loading the fishing gear, and we were heading to the creek for some daybreak fishing. The creek campground is about a quarter of a mile from the lake cabin. I've taken this short trip literally 100 times before, and is always active with nocturnal wildlife. So we are always on high alert for the regulars like mule deer, black bear, jackrabbit, and even rattlesnakes on occasion. This morning was a little foggy, still a little dark. The high mountain ridges keep the valley dark from dusk till dawn. I had just passed a small trailer campground as we saw something closing the road coming in our direction. Maybe less than 50 yards away. It looked very light, close to the ground. It was the size of a large goat, but moving very oddly. I thought goat because quickly I remembered that there were sheep herders on this side of the mountain. But I haven't seen any of them for maybe 30 years. I take pride in being the first to see and identify wildlife, but this time I needed a second to figure out exactly what I was seeing. So I asked my wife in the front passenger seat, "What is that?" pointing to the thing running in our direction, that the likes of which I know I had never seen before, and I was mostly confused because its limbs weren't bending or moving in the right way that a deer, bear, rabbit, cat are supposed to move. So my mind did an evaluation and spit out the answer. It's an escaped sheep or goat that had been sheared and is running for its life, so scared it didn't realize all its knees were broken and bent backwards, and not running on its hooves, feet at all. My wife could only say slowly because of disbelief, "What the hell?" Now, when my lights came across the creature, it was crossing the street, and we got the feeling we were totally surprised it. And as I turned on my high beams, as I am always ready to do with large animals on the road, it seemed to get very irritated as it turned its long human neck towards us, and almost shook its head as it gave us a glare, and started double timing along the road now in our direction. We're getting closer, but instead of being able to more positively ID this thing, I was only more confused, mostly because this thing's legs weren't broken at all. It was running on them like that, long, lean limbs, but it was crawling, creeping impossibly low to the ground, its torso no more than 5 inches from the ground, yet it was moving at a strangely incredible pace. I wondered first, with such long limbs, why is it so low, and not running on the bottom of its hooves or paws? Could it run so fast? How? The order of its feet landing was completely wrong as well, and if it was really trying to retreat quickly, it was not bounding or bouncing or swaying side to side. Its limbs moved in unison, like a crab or a spider. To be the most accurate, but without jumping to any conclusions, I would describe it as one of Giger alien creature. As fake-looking as it might be, there was no movement in its torso. Only the legs and arms propelled it quickly along. It appeared to me to be a puppet, maybe, moved by a marionette. Very bizarre. Maybe because I was so puzzled and troubled that I could not classify this animal, it kept me from flipping out. When we got close enough to see the facial features, I should describe the features that I saw clearly and up close. As mentioned, human-like torso, about 4 feet long, no tail. Human-like haunches. As we passed it, I saw it was not shaved at all. It was hairless and had pale skin. Its limbs were long, thin, very defined muscles and sinewy. Although it was crawling close to the ground, it had large, very human ape-like shoulders. I've only seen such shoulders on upright walking animals. It seemed to be running on its front knuckles or claws. Imagine a sloth, but foot-long fingers or claws. The neck was thin and long, holding a forward-gazing predator, not prey type head. The skull had features close to human and ape than any canine, cat, rodent. The skull seemed to have heavy protruding eye ridge with a flat curve leading to the nasal opening that you could hardly see. This I remember looking for so that I could at least classify which animal family it came from. A goat snout or a cat or canine nose, nothing. Just two small openings high up by the eyes. Then even stranger, the mouth. There was no long snout. This was a tight-lipped human mouth with a large chin. That almost seemed to grin, but somehow I knew that it was not a friendly grin. Almost evil, but how would an animal have an evil grin, right? If that wasn't enough to freak us out, then came the eyes. So at first sight, my headlights lit this weird thing up, and as with all nocturnal animals, the first noticeable thing is always the reflection of the eyes in the car light. Like all the rest of the many animals I've seen on this tiny stretch of road, their cover is blown instantly. Well, not this case. And of all the troubling things that I had observed, this was probably the most unexplainable. I was driving right into it, and I could see the eyebrow ridge. I saw deep eye sockets, but no shiny large or tiny eyes. Just the sockets. All will be revealed shortly, right? As I was sure to peer deep into whatever animal it was eyes as we came within 15 feet of it. Well, when the moment of truth came and my wife and I were horrified, when all we saw were deep red eye sockets, like the thing had no eyes, or there was red membrane over them, something like a blind cave creature. Well, I was about to drive off the road and tried to track the thing, but something told me I was better off just watching it run in the cloud of dust. The friggin' thing turned its head to look at us, was grinning, all with its red eye sockets, and it just zips away, never breaking its creepy crawl. So that's my sighting. I've never heard or saw this thing again. And I have no idea what it was. Nothing adds up. I really feel I was not supposed to see this thing. People like to say maybe it was an experiment gone wrong or a mutated, deformed animal, but what I have to say to that is this thing was not sick or dying. It was strong, aware, fast, and would kick the ass of whatever would mess with it. So if this were a real cryptid, someone else must have seen it. Hell, it was by campsites. What would it be doing so close to humans if it depended on seclusion for survival? Nothing adds up. Was it some kind of interdimensional creature that I just got lucky and saw as it slipped in and then out back to its home? This thing really looked like a monster. I believe it would be called a demon by most other people if they saw it because it was so strange looking. Sometimes I think it was something like a ghost, maybe from a different time, but the thing is, I saw it kick up dust as it ran into the brush, so it was real, not a vision. So there you have it. Two people within 15 to 20 feet with a car light fixed on the subject for 10 to 20 seconds. No drugs or alcohol involved, no ghost stories or witchcraft talk. Just, oh my God, let's go fishing, then oh shit, what's that? Today's third part of the upload. Somewhere around 8 years ago, two of us were driving in a neighborhood on the edge of town. It was that time of year when things got dark early. I don't recall the exact time, but it was night. The sun had been down for a while. There was a little bit of traffic still and stoplights, so it was moving slow. I was in the passenger seat, and I spotted a pale shape darting around in and out of a cul-de-sac and on the sidewalks. I said something like, "What the hell is that?" And the driver of the car saw it as well when they had to stop for a light. We reasoned it must have been a loose dog, but that was not the first impression either of us got. I'm open-minded to strange claims. My friend is generally not. The fact that they said they could not tell if it was a dog either stuck with me. While I can entertain the notion of Sasquatch or something, this person is very much a believer in mainstream, common consensus reality models. The creature, very pale, almost luminescent. I couldn't make out any fur, but it was night. The thing was fast, and I didn't get a clear enough look. The size and shape was similar to a huge dog, somewhere in the area of 150 pounds, I guess. Kind of emaciated looking, lean, long body with not too much belly and weird long limbs. I don't recall seeing a tail. It was moving on all fours, constantly, rapidly darting in and out of the shadows created by the streetlights. It was a quadruped, but didn't move like I expect the dog would. Big loping strides and odd movements. For a moment I speculated it was a female deer because of the bounding on the long legs, but deer have beer barrel torsos and long ears. I would not expect a starving stray to have the energy to be moving that quickly, but it could have been in a panic. A few times it slowed down enough as we were moving forward to get a better look. It was hard to make out the details on the head in the gloom, but something seemed really wrong about it. Not like a dog's head, but more like a tilted flat face with a tapered chin. I realized that's a similar profile to a dog's snout. I don't think it had ears. Very bright, glowing eyes, brighter than I'd ever seen on an animal. Those things were staring, white eyes, forward-facing and large. I could see videos and pictures of animals with eyes that glow that bright, but videos are not the same as our eyes. They perceive light differently than equipment will capture. I don't remember seeing eyes glow nearly that bright on a dog before either. And usually dogs look like dogs from the front. Where we were, it's the suburbs of western Washington state. There's a small creek, a strip of woods behind the cul-de-sac, and multiple trails throughout the neighborhood. There's a large cemetery about a mile away, multiple large parks, wilderness areas within walking distance. Connected lakes and streams, usual sewer systems, I assume, but further out are very large natural areas and forested mountains, well within roaming range for an animal that size. I felt like this might have been some sort of omen. I can't say if that was related to anything negative that happened in my life. I felt a little haunted emotionally, creeped out. I thought about that dog-like creature with a human face as something I could use in my world building and monster design. I know this is an old memory, and I could not really get a clear look, but this experience was so unsettling and unusual that it stayed with me, coming across sketches and even a possible fake photo that were very close to my memory prompted me to share this. I get things wrong from time to time, but I do not fabricate. Now this could have been an emaciated, white, stray dog with unusual glowing eyes and bizarre movements that was huge. I'll freely admit it. It's weird that, based on seeing it, I would add a dog-like monster with a human-like face to my menagerie. It's weird that someone with a mainstream worldview agreed that something was off and we were both creeped out. Normally, I'm not asking, what was that thing years later? Considering how many mainstream lies I've uncovered and other strange experiences I've had personally, I'm inclined to believe my senses more than what I am told by authorities at this point. How the world works is not a fixed dogma. That night my senses, my instincts said that is not a dog. That thing is wrong and dangerous. Make of this what you will. I swear these details are true to the best of my recollection. Today's fourth part of the upload. I'd like to share two experiences. One, my own, and one that happened to some relatives. First, my uncle's experience, because I think that one is more interesting. I wasn't there to experience it firsthand, but they swear up and down that it was true. My uncles, both twins, were doing door-to-door candy bar fundraising for their school in rural Michigan in the early 80s. It's getting to be dusk, and they decided they would wrap up selling with one more house, then go home. The last house is this house that sits on a dirt road intersection, sort of on the top of a capital T-shaped intersection, so that the front of the house faces the bottom of the T. Facing from the house down the road, that makes up the vertical part of the T. There's a wooded lot on the right side of the road and a field on the left of the road. I hope it's clear. I can draw a map if it's not. Anyway, they finish up making their pitch to this house, walk down the driveway, and as they get close to the road, there's this thing that comes out of the woods. My uncle said that the closest description he could give was that it looked like a puma. At this point, they're sort of scared, like anyone else would be if they spotted a puma as a kid, but nothing seems out of the ordinary about this creature itself. It gets about halfway across the road, the vertical part of the T, stops and looks at them, and then stands up on its hind legs, sprints across the remainder of the road, leaps over the embankment on the far side of the road, and runs across the field into the woods in the distance. After it stood up, it remained on two legs until it disappeared into the tree line. They, understandably freaked out, run back to the house, asked to use the phone, and have their parents come and pick them up because they were way too scared to walk home. My experience is something certainly abnormal. It occurred in north-central North Carolina. If anyone cares, I used to work a second shift at Walmart, meaning I got out of work at 1 in the morning. I was driving home, and there's a portion of the drive where it's not uncommon to see deer at night. That section is a bridge where there is a lake to the left, a splitway that goes under the bridge, and a big swampy wooded area to the right. I get to this area, and I see what I think is a group of deer crossing the road, barely illuminated by my headlights, so I slow down like anyone else. As I get closer, I realize that there's at least 6 of these things, which would be a lot of deer. And they're not running like deer at all, even though they were running at least as quickly as a deer does. Deer run with a sort of up and down bounding motion. These things were running like dogs do when they move a quick-paced walk, alternating legs diagonal from each other. But again, they were moving quickly. Right as the last one crossed, and I was close enough for them to be pretty thoroughly lit up by my headlights, one of the last ones turned its head and looked at me while it was running, and I got a good look at its face, and it was a canine. But the whole group was at least as big as an average deer in the area. Now, unless there's a pack of Great Dane running around rural North Carolina, I have no explanation of what I saw. Today's final encounter. I lived on a dairy farm, and across a couple of the hills were 2 boys who were 6 years apart, the same age as my sons. At the time, they were 7 and 13. The boys had a single mom and a dad who lived in Alaska. I would have them come and spend the weekend with my boys to give their mom a break. She worked real hard, and my boys enjoyed the company. The older 2 would go to the barn at night and help milk, while the other 2 played outside until dark. It was in the summer, and they were out of school. One of the younger 2 came in the house screaming and was terrified. When I finally was able to get my son to make sense, I learned that something huge had jumped out of the rye field, and it had the smaller one with it. My son was a gifted artist even then, and I had him draw it. The thing was about 8 feet tall, covered in gray fur, and had green glowing eyes. He hadn't paid much attention to the little one except for telling me that it had fallen down after it jumped. I had to sit with them until they fell asleep that night. The older boys came down with my husband after milking, and they hadn't seen anything unusual. The reason I believed both the younger boys was because they were both very serious. They've never given me a minute's trouble. In the morning, I went to have a look outside and see if there were any footprints. There was a huge thistle growing where the boys said the thing had jumped out of. My jaw dropped to see it completely flattened. This thistle had easily been 6 feet tall. I went back to the house just shaking my head. I didn't know what to think. After that, I would go and pick the brothers up in the car rather than have them cross the fields to get to the house. I knew the kids had seen something, but I didn't know what it was. I just felt very uneasy. Next weekend, I'll be damned if the same thing doesn't happen again. The older boys were at the barn, and the kids came running screaming. This time, my younger son told me that he wanted to eat them. I kept vigil again, peering through the blinds in their bedroom until they had fallen asleep. I simply don't know what to do but get on my knees and beg for God to move. I really don't care what I had to go through, but these were my children. Now, you can believe this or not, I don't really care. But we sold the farm within the month and moved to a different town. Prior to that, there were no more sleepovers because I was responsible for those kids and I simply didn't want any harm to come to them. I kept my youngest very close to my side until we did move.
And there you have it, folks. I hope you all enjoyed today's bonus as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. I'd really like to thank you all for supporting this channel. It is your support that helps the channel to continue to grow and go, and what gives us all a place and a chance to share our experiences and theories judgment-free. Everyone is simply treated with the respect that we deserve. Please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, pets, family, and our friends. These creatures are real. These events have happened. Share this information with those you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for the truth, and God bless you all.